Hey listeners, you're listening to the Midnight Readers podcast. Grab some tea, a midnight snack, and cuddle up in bed as we dive deep into today's most popular fantasy, sci-fi, and mysteries. We're your hosts. I'm Lily.
I'm Brittany.
And I'm Christy.
This season, we're stepping into 3 standalone worlds. Right now, we're diving into an epic fantasy about ambition, power, and the cost of breaking into a system that was never built for you. That's right, grab your spellograph, we're headed to Tiran.
In a city where magic fuels progress and prestige determines worth, brilliance isn't enough. You have to fight for recognition. And listen to this podcast. Welcome to a world of arcane research, political maneuvering, and the kind of ambition that doesn't just want a seat at the table, it wants to flip it over.
In this episode, we'll be discussing Blood over Brighthaven, chapters 6 through 12, where Sciona makes a breakthrough in her mapping spell, revealing a truth so devastating, her world crumbles to pieces and fuels Thomil's rage.
Before we get into it, this is your warning for major spoilers ahead. This includes all 3 standalone novels we'll be covering this season and any fan discussions we find online. We're also avid fans of the Moss universe and might accidentally let spoilers slip for other popular romantasy book series as well. Starting in advance, like the books, this podcast is rated R, so be warned.
Also, a friendly reminder to please like, subscribe, and follow. You can find us on Instagram, Threads, Facebook, and YouTube. And if you want some bonus content and behind-the-scenes chaos, join our growing community on Patreon.
All right. Okay, well, this one's going to be a doozy of an episode, so everybody strap in.
Understatement of the year.
So it's been 2 weeks since we last left off, and everybody is kind of giving Sciona the cold shoulder and not really acknowledging her presence. And she is working on her web spell? Spell web? Her spell web?
Spell web, I think, is correct. Which, can I just say before we get started, we tried so many different ways to say the Tiranish in the last episode. We'll get it right this time. We had like Tiranites, I don't know, like Tiranians. Anyways, Tiranish.
So she's working on this spell when there is an explosion that rocks the Magus Center. And she goes out thinking it's going to be Mordra. Is it Mordra?
Yeah. Mordra the 10th.
And she's surprised, and he thinks it's her, and she's so insulted. Like, you thought it was me? Like, what?
She's like, is it? I thought that was you. I thought that was you.
And they find out it's this mage that's a couple of labs down, named Halaros?
Yeah, Halaros.
Yeah.
And while everybody's trying to go help the people who are hurt, Sciona and Renthorn, who I have decided to just call Renfield because that's where he is existing in my head. I was like, I can't remember Renthorn. I'm going to call him Renfield. So if I do call him Renfield, that's who I'm referencing.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, they both go check out the spellograph, the one that is smoking.
Wait, first Sciona is like, who cares if someone got hurt? And then Thomil is like, Sciona.
Aren't these your people? And she's like, are they? Are they?
She's like, is it really that big a deal?
Do I have to care about my people?
Yeah.
Do we blame her? Would you?
No.
Yeah.
I was with her until some other things happened. I was with her.
And, oh wait, I totally forgot all about the part where she wakes up and there's a tea for hangover and stuff. And I was just like,
yeah,
I can't believe I skipped all that. Dang.
I was about to say, I thought you skipped chapter 6.
Well, no, because
my brain just went straight to the explosion. So going backwards, actually.
Well, in chapter 6, not a ton, like, substantive stuff happens, but there's a lot of, like, setup for this section.
Yeah, we learn about the dead zone what the other world has
A
no
big deal.
energy and the forbidden coordinates.
Mm-hmm.
And
Which is kind of bullshit, and which Thomil points out himself when he said the preachers are always saying your God gifted Tiran all the fruits of his garden.
Yep.
Isn't it odd then for some of the all to be withheld?
Yeah.
he had some really good, like, there's something wrong with your logic here questions.
Yeah, this is gonna be tumbling out of me for the rest of the episode because all of the allusions to Catholicism and Christianity in general, all of the allusions to capitalism and imperialist ideals like, slavery, and my mind was reeling this entire section. I wanted to point out the excerpt at the beginning where it says, when the wretched descendants of these tribes enter Tiran, they do so as half-souls, tainted by the folly of their forebears. It is our duty as Tiranish to make these wretches whole through re-education and ... redeem their souls through labor, which is such a Catholic thing. Like, you have to do good works or whatever, but it's only for the Quinn.
Only certain people have to do good works. Not all people have to do good works.
Yes, right. It's only for the Quinn. It's like the justifying of the slavery of these people is killing me.
Yeah.
It's killing me.
Yeah.
And that's what America was fucking founded on. So it's
Although-
just jumping out at me.
Were y'all, like, I was looking at those little passages as at the end of the chapters instead of at the beginning. But
What?
the little passages, that the one you just read, I was looking at those as coming at the end of the chapter or not at the beginning.
In the ebook, they're at the beginning of the chapter,
Yeah.
kind of like
Yeah, they're included with that next chapter.
like fourth wing.
Interesting, because
Yeah.
I got the Kindle off of Libby and it wasn't. It was going straight to when I click on chapter 6, it went straight to the page that had chapter 6 on it.
Well, what's interesting is the audiobook, which I actually returned because I would rather have the physical book. When I had the audiobook briefly, it was separate from the chapters.
yeah.
So I don't know. I'm reading it as a precursor to the chapter because they seem to be more like indicators for what comes next, not like a follow-up.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, the audiobook definitely does separate them. And I got the ebook so I can figure out how to spell certain things.
That's fair. My mind honed in on these a lot, I think, because I'm so fascinated by their religious system. So if anyone is interested in my notes on that, we're going to post them to Patreon because I got way more into the fucking details of that in my notes, which we probably won't be able to cover in our episode. But
yeah. And we do have another reference to the traitor mage that Christy pointed out last episode. And they brought up, like, okay, so he siphoned from the forbidden zone, so that made it dark. But it wasn't the killing, using the magic to kill people that made it dark. It was the taking it from the forbidden coordinates. And so I was like, does that mean that if I used good magic to kill people, that it's not dark magic?
Well, Thomil questions it in this chapter. He's like, why is it evil? And she's like, well, because it's to defy Leon's edicts is dark magic. It's not because it's any kind of different magic. It's because they said so.
Yeah. Literally.
Because I said so.
Right.
Yeah.
Because and we don't question God. And God said so.
Yeah.
But what's stupid is it's not even we don't question God. It's we don't question these dipshits that came before.
Yeah. It's the people who are supposedly like the all-knowing or whatever, which it's like clearly I just don't understand as we go through this section. It's infuriating to read Sciona, who is supposed to be this incredibly smart, like logical protege of a woman. She's ignoring like logic and reasonable thinking at every fucking turn. It's infuriating.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm like happy to see that there's like a complex female character as the main. I'm so conflicted.
Yeah.
And to be fair, I mean, there are plenty of scientists who are religious, and religion and science don't necessarily mix because
Not easily.
I mean, not easily, but here's the part that is to me frustrating with Sciona is that she had to defy her religion. She had to defy society in order to get herself to the point she's at now. But yet she's also a religious nut. So it doesn't, to me, mix, because you would think somebody that was pushing back against one aspect of it would question other aspects.
Yeah, she's very indoctrinated.
It is. And I like to use an example from real life. There are a lot of women who get told that, they have to be subservient and, that they need to obey their husbands and that they shouldn't speak in church and that they shouldn't be preachers and they have to play this role that is not natural for them. And they will push back against that. But then when they're told the same thing about the LGBTQ community and the Bible and how that being gay is wrong and blah, 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 they don't push back against that part.
That's a good point.
Yeah. If it doesn't affect them,
right,
then it doesn't matter.
Very good observation. That's a very good point.
I think there's a lot of really interesting little moments in this section that set us up for the coming chapters. Like there's that. I mean, Siona's clear bigotry is evident when Thomil starts asking questions and she's like, well, obviously because Leon said so. That's why we don't do that.
Yeah.
But there's also this moment where Thomil brings up, I thought death sentences didn't exist for native Tiranish when talking about Sabernin, the Dark Mage. And I feel like we're going to see that again, like for sure, because there's no way he just brought that up. And we identified that canonically death sentences don't exist in Tiran.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Unless the whole Archmage council agrees.
I think he's a good guy. I think he found out what they were doing.
Sabernin?
Yeah. I like the traitor mage, whatever. I think that he found out what they were doing. They might, I don't know if he actually murdered his colleagues or not, but
I don't think so.
I think that they might have been murdered to make him guilty.
Yep.
Or whatever, but I think he was killed for finding out what they didn't want him to know.
But it seemed
by Brigham.
But
I don't know. I mean, Brigham was way past. His generation was before Brigham. So
he was?
Yeah, it's like hundreds of years apart. Yeah.
Well, fuck. Well, then never mind. Okay. I have a different theory.
But yeah, I do think that he found out the truth and they killed him for knowing too much.
The only reason I didn't think that is because there seemed to be some indication that he tried to hide what he found. Now, that could have been other people hiding his work, I guess. And it also doesn't seem clear that he found... It's not clear if what he found was what Sciona found, because he got to his means of doing so through the other already existing methods. Like, he didn't create a clear mirror like Sciona does.
What if his work was destroyed?
Doesn't she say something about...
Or what if he did set curses?
Well, maybe he did, but doesn't she say something about his work wasn't destroyed? It's still... I guess it could be modified, too. So, I don't know.
I think it was just the books about him.
Yeah.
And they could have only destroyed the parts that showed everybody the truth and left his
No, y'all are probably
work.
right. I just didn't consider it for some reason.
But that's what I thought the curses were, is his way of making it where people would see the truth.
That comes...
And they wouldn't know when or how.
That comes from Brigham, though. What if those are one... If there are curses, what if one, they're just being, again, that was him, haha, because he's a bad
trying
guy.
to open the mirror.
Yeah.
And then, or two, there are no curses, and anytime somebody finds out the truth, they can just be like, oh, that's just some silly little curse. It's fine. Because he gaslights her.
Okay.
Who knows?
Now that we're talking about Brigham...
All these questions.
That's a good point. But, I want to talk about Brigham because there's something about him that is not right.
Okay, so he shows up while she's trying to teach him magic. And he, like Thomil, does not like Brigham. And that to me was like big red flag number 1.
It's gotta be, I don't know what it is, but I feel like he's doing something in the textile factory that is not good.
Yeah.
He's doing something over there that's not good.
I think that the girl that he had a love interest in, or guy, his love interest
has to be a girl. They only hire women in the textile factory, as far as we understand.
Well, I think that she either was killed by his machine or she was raped, because that seems to be implied at the end of the section that pretty Quinn girls can't be alone. And or
true.
You know, she died under the pressure, I guess, or by depression because of how she's being treated by these people.
I don't know what to think about him. I want to think he's like Sciona in that he has good intent but is still doing bad things. You know what I mean? Which is worth nothing. But I do think there's something suspicious about the fact that I don't know, he's always there. And he's a little too happy-go-lucky for me to believe.
He gives me Joss Whedon vibes.
Oh my God. Fuck Joss Whedon.
Yeah. Joss Whedon portrayed himself as this like defender of women, the ultimate feminist man, and then betrayed us.
He also low-key tries to tell Sciona that it's not because of her sex that she's being treated differently.
Yeah, no,
it's like, okay,
no.
Open your fucking eyes, Brigham.
Yeah, it is absolutely about her sex. Absolutely. It is not, he's not as enlightened.
And I don't like the way he talks about Quinn people either.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, no, absolutely not. And I don't want, okay, he knows that one day they're gonna have a female mage. He knows this. And as he points out, his name's not going to be associated with Renthorn or Mordred or any of those other mages, but he could attach his name to Sciona. And so he already gets credit as sponsoring the first female high mage. Right. But what if he wanted to do that to, you know, get his name in history and, you know, pretend like he's this big supporter of women, but that's as far as he wants her to go. And he doesn't really want her to succeed. He just kind of, instead of, this is the glass ceiling, I'm going to lift it up to here. Now this is the glass ceiling, and it makes it look like I'm supporting you, but really I just raised the bar just a little bit. There's still a ceiling that you have to break through.
Right.
And so I was like, what if, when she is talking about this whole spellograph curse thing, she thinks it's Renthorn because he's the only one who would have known about that particular spellograph.
You think it's Brigham.
But Brigham would have too.
True. That's true.
And honestly, Renfield seems kind of like he's somewhat of an idiot. I don't know if he is quite as smart as they have made him out to be, because it sounds like his research mages do all the actual fucking work.
Well, I actually had a thought about Renthorn since we're already there, since we're already at the explosion again. And I think we should talk about it. But when the explosion happens, Renthorn is curious. He's looking at the spellograph, and later in the section, he asks Sciona what she saw that freaked her out so much. I could be crazy, but why do I feel like there's more going on with his character? I don't think he's just a straightforward evil, like, person. There's something underneath that's going on with Renthorn that, I don't know, he could be a potential ally. He could flip. I could see him getting curious and them getting stuck together as like what would you call that? Like, they're not really like equals, but he's forced to become an ally with her because he wants to know the truth. I see them as similar types of characters, and I don't want to put him on the same level as Sciona, but they're both so hungry to learn. It does make me wonder if all of his like hatred and spew towards her is because he's actually interested, if that makes sense. Not that it makes it okay, but more that it's like, it's kind of like, I don't know how to describe it, but like, I feel like he's going to be so intrigued in what Sciona figures out or is learning that he's going to become a different kind of character somehow.
You know, he reminds me of a little bit.
What?
You know, in book 2 of Harry Potter, that magician that basically he's really great at memory spells. I can't remember his name.
Gilderoy Lockhart.
Lockhart, yes, thank you. That's who, in my mind, I picture him like.
Interesting. I think he's smart, but I think that he talks big. I think he's not, like you said, he's not as smart as he's coming off, but I think he does want to learn. I don't know. I'm really fascinated in the little things, the little details about him in this section where he's like, he's always there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't think that he's a good guy, but I don't think that he's a bad guy either. I think that he is the red herring.
Yes.
Yeah.
The place where Sciona can point her finger so that we don't look at Brigham.
I think she's biased. I think that Renthorn is the symbol of everything she hates, and like he's her rival academically, which is all she cares about. Like she's so absorbed in her schoolwork that she doesn't even get that little girl's name for the autograph. And that is Siona's character to a T.
Which is funny because wasn't it written in the book?
Maybe.
I think that's how she figured out her name in the first place, was that she went to the "This Book Belongs to" page and it was Nora written there.
I didn't think so. I thought when he asked her and she said, I don't know, he was like, then I'll just make it out to like, I can't remember what he said, but
when
you mean
when he
in the
asked
previous
her,
section?
yes, but when she was talking to the little girl in the first section, she didn't know her name
I think
then
you're
either.
right.
And she went to the page that says "This Book Belongs to," and it said Nora.
Yeah.
And that's how she figured out her name. So
it's just so funny though. Like it's crazy.
yeah.
I will say this. Brigham does say that they are threatened by her, and that's why they're being all mean to her and stuff. And it's just normal competition stuff. And I was like, no, this isn't normal threatened stuff. This is not, oh, he might be liked more than me. This is
right.
And what does that say about you if that's normal?
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a lot of there's a lot of fields that are competitive. It does not make it great that they act like that, but it's at least a little understandable. But this isn't about competitiveness. This is someone I think who is lower class than me might try to be my equal. That's the threatening part.
You could make the point that it's about change and stuff, but it is only, I don't know, it is very, very based in the fact that she's a woman.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And like I said, he just gives me Joss Whedon vibes. And I that's all I could see throughout this entire section was he's Joss Whedon.
Big yikes.
Although Sciona pissed me off a couple times. And it felt like
she was pissing me off.
It took my sympathy away just slightly. I know she's going to change. I know she's going to do better at some point. But in this one, like when Thomil's trying to tell her that Quinn, who can't work, don't get to live.
Yeah.
And then she starts laughing at him and says that,
she's like,
it's true what they say about you being melodramatic or something. And
that's her her being naive.
Yeah.
Her not being absolutely 100% clueless about how the actual world is.
So I'm not giving her grace for that.
And I
feel like naive is a nice way to say she was being a straight up cunt.
I'm surprised you're making like excuses for her, Brittany.
I'm not making excuses for her. I'm saying I don't hate her for it because there are so many people in our world who don't know. And I'm not saying that it's a good thing and that they don't need to change. I'm saying it's not, when you grow up with being told one thing and one thing only and only seeing one thing, it's hard to see a different thing. And I agree. And I expect her to change. And if she doesn't change, then yeah, I'm going to be mad at her, but I'm not going to be mad at her right away. I need her to be confronted.
But I think that can go too far because that means she can act any way she wants. And then you could go back and give that excuse so that you can do anything, because you have someone that literally is telling her something serious and she's laughing at him.
She thinks it's a joke because she doesn't know better. That's my point, is he needs to confront her with the truth. And then if she will not believe it, then that is when you're like, okay, grow up. This you need to,
But I feel like he has confronted her with the truth.
You can't expect somebody who has been taught one thing all her life to just be told once, hey, things are different. And
agree.
then just expect her to accept that as truth.
I understand where you're coming from. I have a hard time having sympathy for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't condone it, and I don't like it. I just understand where she's coming from.
Yeah, I do too, but it still pisses me off to see it. I mean,
yeah, well, especially since, again, she pushed back on things that she was told that she doesn't think are correct. So you've already got that crack there. And for her to continue to be like, I don't know, I just don't.
She was told that if you're a Quinn and you don't learn to work, you die thing in chapter 6. This is before she's been confronted with pretty much anything.
I meant the fact that she's even trying to be a high mage is against what, I mean, you can do it, but you're going to fail. And then you go do something that women do. And yet she knows that she is in a position that no one else has been in. And I don't know. I feel like she's a little too knowledgeable about the fact that there are some issues with this one to do something like that. So I had zero sympathy for her in that.
But again, it's like, it's again like you're confronted.
It's a willful ignorance, though.
Well, yeah.
It is. She needs to be more open. She needs to be more understanding. But it takes time. And that's my point, is that I don't condone it. And I think that she should be more understanding. But to her, she's been told that the Quinn are dumb, dirty cannibals who are melodramatic.
I get that.
And so for him to say this to her is for her kind of confirming, because she doesn't believe that people are put to death in her city.
I get that, but at some point you're old enough to make better decisions, and that cannot be an excuse that somebody uses as an adult to do shitty things, but then continue to make the same mistakes over and over. And I feel like in this chapter, she has repeatedly, and he's repeatedly shown her that she's wrong, and yet she doesn't acknowledge that. She just wants to continue acting the same way.
I agree.
And again, I personally feel like y'all are being a little hard on her, because she is being confronted with things that she has never had to be confronted with in her entire life. And she is pushing back, yes. But by the end of this section, when she is basically about to throw herself off the windowsill because she is believing this, she doesn't want to believe this, but she is believing. And she is making strides. And yes, so again, as somebody who went through deconstruction myself, I pushed back. I was like, I don't understand why you're telling me this when I've been taught this, and I don't understand why this isn't meshing. It's a very confusing time, and it takes time for you to come to terms with the fact that you were brought up in such a dishonest fashion.
I understand that. I really do. And I understand that you can't just flip and all of a sudden understand where everything that you've been taught has, gone wrong. I understand that it's baby steps on stuff like that. What I think Christy is saying, and that I agree with her on, is that for someone like Sciona, who has grown up trying to defy what society's standards are for her, who is also living in not the nice part of Tiran, you would think that at this point she would have already confronted some of that herself, that she would have seen people who are Quinn people in her life in ways that would have made her question these things. I'm not saying that it's easy, but I'm saying for someone whose whole character is that she's intelligent and investigative and she pushes boundaries. It's really interesting that her character is so anti-pushing at this boundary.
Yeah.
In one subject. She's hyper-focused in one subject. And again, it goes back to that, some women are, they push back on what the Bible says about how women should be treated, but they won't push back on how LGBTQ people should be treated.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that. I get it.
But I think even that is selfish.
It is selfish.
If you have someone that pushes back on only something that affects you, it's still what Lily said. It's willful ignorance. You're choosing not to know.
Yeah. On some level.
It's easy for them to push. It's easy for them and for Sciona to push back on the women thing because she is a woman and she does know herself better than the men know her.
Sure.
And she is not questioning what she is taught about the Quinn, and she should. She should, we should all question what we're taught.
Especially at this point of working with him.
Yeah.
And I don't think that she has had very many experiences with Quinn at all. I think they discussed that in the first section. But she needs to deconstruct, because we are halfway through the book now, more, going forward. She better, start accepting things. But I am willing to give her a little bit of grace here. That's all I'm saying.
A lot happens in this section. A lot of deconstruction. It's like the craziest fast track.
Yeah.
We skip from her being wow, you guys are so melodramatic, to her almost trying to kill herself as she discovers what's going on.
And to be fair, I do not give her grace on hitting that button and killing that girl. That's like somebody going, I've been told this gun won't kill anybody. Bang. Oops.
I should test it.
Yeah.
She could have tested it on a lot of things. And yet,
but
sad.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, she was testing it because she was like, God won't let this hurt a living being. So it was either going to be a person or a creature.
A human. Well, right. She thought a plant or an animal, which is a living being. You bitch. Yeah. She almost lost me on that one. I was,
Yeah.
Now, speaking of Sciona being the only lady mage, as we go into the next chapter, let me see what chapter this is. Chapter 7. There is this and you said you were reading them at the end of the chapter, so that's why I wanted to bring it up first, is there's this quote at the beginning of the chapter from Irma Mordra, which Sciona brings up in the first section, where she's talking about mages in the past who were women who were not credited.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think her name is mentioned because her husband takes her credit. And the quote is, I have been a goddess. I know you will think me silly, but I am a pious lady of good manners, and I tell the truth. ... And I know that in this house there is only one space for one god. I will not stay in someone's house where I am not wanted. I really want to know what the fuck this means. And this is the chapter where we discover what the Maedra are. It makes me wonder, what does she mean by I have been a goddess?
I think...
is it metaphorical?
Personally, I think it's her being a high mage, or being a mage that controls all that power.
Yeah.
It's the surgeons are like, I'm a god, I have somebody's life in my hands kind of attitude.
Yeah.
I don't know, though. Because I was, as you were reading that, Lily, I was looking at your notes, and you said, could Irma have been one of the Maedra? That would make sense. That would absolutely make sense.
It just makes me wonder, because I don't know where Walden or Walson Mordra is in the timeline. I don't know where he aligns with Leon discovering, quote unquote, the sacred text. But if she was brought from the Quinn to Tiran, there is a possibility she was a Maedra. I don't know if she was or not. It just depends on where she falls in the timeline. That will, I think, go unanswered for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's interesting.
I put that her little thing sounded like an affirmation, like she was reminding herself over and over, I was a goddess. I was goddess. I was worthy. I was goddess. But
yeah, maybe it could be as simple as that.
I don't know. But you know, right? I mean, now that we've learned about the fact that the Quinn had high mages, how did you pronounce it?
Maedra.
Maedra?
Maedra.
It sounded Spanish. I was like...
I think I said it with like a Maedra. So Maedra.
Oh, but I did also mention to Christy was the funny thing is they use magic for everything. So to make clothes, to make paper, to make tea, to make the train run, to have electricity. Like, why? Why can't they? Why do they need magic for everything?
It's their version of technology.
Yeah.
I really do think it's an illusion to the society we live in now. Every fucking thing is built off of the backs of enslaved people who created our entire system. I do think it is an intentional allusion to that. By America.
Yeah.
And probably other parts of Europe as well, you know? The Atlantic slave trade literally built the foundation for our society. And it is so clear reading this that they were trying to allude to it. And also the tech thing kind of makes it even more relatable because something about tech like ruining our lives. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Oh,
yeah.
And the reliance on it.
Mm-hmm.
My dad, when he texts somebody, he always does the like Siri speaking into it thing. And I'm like, I can type this faster than you can speak this because you got to go, hey, Siri, text this person, hi, comma.
Like, my dad does that, and his accent is so strong, it never picks up the right word. Yeah.
Well, I thought one part in here that I really loved for Thomil, which I fucking love his character. But when she was kind of talking about that whole, the glory of women being taken by these men, and she thinks it makes her a bad person to feel that way. And because
society has told her that.
Right.
Yeah.
And so she asks him basically if it makes her a bad woman. And he was like, what are you talking about? And she says, arrogant. And then he says, I think it's only bad if your ego is unwarranted, which confuses the shit out of her. And she said, if you're capable of everything they are as a group, then who can say you've been arrogant or unvirtuous?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he's like, why would that be wrong if you had like the skills to back it up? Like you did that shit.
Yeah.
Well, it's like, if a woman is the boss, she's bossy. But if a man is the boss, he's commanding and powerful and, a leader.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But also, when the explosion happens, they end up evacuating.
Yeah.
And the building manager really pissed me off because he was like, okay, High Mage Tanril, High Mage Mordra, Miss Freynin. And I was like, okay, so this brings up something that recently happened several weeks ago, but there was a woman in Savannah who was killed on her way to work because of a high-speed chase involving ice. Yep. And it was all over social media constantly. They were talking about her, and it was always Teacher Linda Davis or Miss Linda Davis. And I literally had to go in and correct so many people every time I saw it. And I was like, no, it's Dr. Linda Davis. Doctor. She earned that title. Give it to her.
Yeah, there's a point where Thomil is like, why does it matter if your name is on it, if the greater good happens either way? And it's one of those moments where it's like, of course your mind is in the right place. Like, of course we want to do good for the sake of good. But at the same time, I understand Sciona wanting to be recognized and have her name on shit because she said before, women often just get written off or put in the subcredits or not credited at all. So,
well, and that goes back to as well, where I was a little disappointed with him in that aspect, because if your name is not attached to it, then you lose control of it. So things can be done with your work that you did not intend for them to be done if you don't have control of it anymore, which he of all people should understand.
Yeah. To be fair, I do think Thomil was pushing her a little bit on like, why do you care about this? Because it does force her to recognize, okay, she doesn't care so much just that her name is on it, but that she is recognized, that she wants the glory, that it's not just because she wants the quote unquote greater good, which is what she says. And I think he's trying to make her recognize you also want the recognition, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but like you have to face that, like be honest with yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why do we have a picture of Spider-Man?
Have you never seen that meme? This is the...
Really, people should look at the notes because they come with pictures from Lily.
Sometimes I think of a meme and I can't help myself. It's the Spider-Man meme where it's like, wait a minute. When Mordra was looking at Sciona and Sciona was looking at Mordra in the book and they were like, I thought the explosion was you. This is all I could think of was the Spider-Man pointing at Spider-Man meme. It's like, you.
Oh, you. Okay. That makes sense.
Right. I kind of was expecting when they were headed to Brigham's labs to see something happen in there.
They don't even...
Yeah,
it just like skips right over.
Skip right over that, which, to be fair, it is a standalone. You only have so much room. But it's not that big of a book. So, I mean, I feel like maybe we could have gotten something in there. But in chapter 8, we go from it's been 2 weeks to now it's been 2 months. And is that 2 months past the 2 weeks or just 2 months in general? Because the time that she had was only like 70 days, right?
Yeah,
70
I'm
something
thinking
days.
2 months in general, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah.
It could be on top of the 2 weeks because then they only have 1 week left.
Yeah, but then
because
2 months is, and depending on if their months are like our months, 2 months is 60-ish days. So that would only leave like 10-ish days left.
Well, that sounds about right then, because when she sees when she goes home, someone tells her, well, you only have a week until Fane's feast day, or I can't remember what it's called. Fane's feast or something like that, the festival where she has to propose it. So she has a week left when she makes the discovery. No, she has like a few days left when she makes the discovery about the mapping.
Yeah.
So,
but she has like a week and something whenever Thomil and her have the conversation that prompts her into looking into the mirrors.
Exactly.
But yeah. So, and we do finally learn it's been 10 years since the Field of Flowers chapter. So
yes,
it also made me wonder, like, was he 17 in that? 15 in that first chapter?
I thought he was 20. Am I crazy? I thought he was 20.
He might have been.
Yeah,
so that would make him 30 now.
Yeah, so I was thinking he was about 30 years old, and she's like 27 or something.
Yeah.
Oh. Can't remember. I'd have to go back to my notes and double check, but I thought he was 20. Farron's Feast, that's what it's called. Farron's Feast, not Fane's Feast. There's so many F's.
Yes. There's a Fane. I think Fane is the religion. The other religion.
Yeah, no. So Fane is the man that follows Leon. Yeah. Who writes the other branch of their religion. Yeah. So she's a Leonite, so she follows the original texts, which I'll hold my tongue on that, okay? So she follows the original text. Fane writes the next text. So she doesn't fall under the Terrassian branch. She falls under the Leonite branch, which is actually the reason she's convinced to break the rules. So because they're Fane's rules.
It's like Christianity versus Mormonism. They're both the same religion, just one other uses other texts.
I was gonna say it's more like Catholic and Judaism, because Catholicism and Judaism are more based on the original, like the Torah is like the first books of the Bible.
So does the Catholic Church.
The Catholics use the whole Bible, but Catholics are old enough that they also have a lot of beliefs that Protestants don't believe. So I don't know if I would call the Fanes the Catholics or if I would call them the Protestants, but either way, Tarasians believe something that she doesn't believe, so it could either be a difference between Catholicism and Protestantism, or it could be Judaism versus Catholicism. Both work because there's many Abrahamic faiths. So,
the only reason I went with Mormons is because they have different books than.
I would say that the Mormons have a complete separate, like,
they're technically still Christian.
They are, but at least Sciona acknowledges this book. This would be like if there was a random man hundreds of years later that wrote a book and was like, this is the actual book. Anyway, when Thomil was like, but I thought you were a Leonite, she was like, but I work for Tarasians in a Tarasian university. So that convinces her to break the rules.
Yeah, I was like, yes, please throw logic in her face. Show her hypocrisy. Because he was like, you believe that women should be being high mages, but your religion teaches that they shouldn't. And I do think that she is starting to, like, when he pointed that out to her, she was like,
yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He says quite a few things in here that I think were really interesting, and some that I was kind of curious, like how you felt, because I know one of the things that he talks about is the good intentions that on...
my favorite part.
Oh, would you like to read it? Because I thought it was really interesting, just that whole part.
I can read you what I wrote down. It's after they have discussed, when they're talking about the runes, he brings up that the runes are very similar to runes he's already seen. And she's like dumbfounded about that because she's like, there's no way that Quinn people can read. Like, first of all. And second of all, she's like, well, they must have stolen the alphabet from the Tiranish or whatever. Anyway, once they've determined that this alphabet is very similar to an alphabet that already existed in the Vinholt Andraste region, because Leon is said to have, quote unquote, discovered the sacred text on the Mount or the Peak, which, Sermon on the Mount, anybody? This peak was probably in the Andraste region, and it was probably stolen from them, or at least Thomil says that.
Yeah.
And they get on this whole tangent about, like, basically Thomil says, I don't believe in your God for a lot of reasons, and that breaks her fucking brain.
He said that he believes in him, he just doesn't worship him because he has other gods that are more important.
Yeah. Okay, I'm not saying that he didn't believe her God existed, which is exactly what he says. He says, I believe your God exists, it's just not for me. And that doesn't make any sense to her. So she's like, please explain yourself.
She's like, truth is for everybody, so please.
Yeah, so she says, let me go back. So he says, if you must know, your God weighs souls differently than mine. Or your people and mine have different senses of right and wrong. And he basically goes on to say that intent means nothing. Only actions really mean anything. Because there's something called, quote unquote, vakul, a common Quinn word for a valley or depression where a river might flow. There is no river there now, but there may have once been, and there may be one day again. All living creatures have in them some good, some bad, and a lot of vakul. But vakul can't be all you are if you expect the love of your gods and fellow mortals. A ravine won't water crops or quench the dying. Then he goes on to say, this is why I can't worship your God. He allows this gray space for delusion. You take a void and name it goodness, and it is so. if you can lie to yourself that you're a good person, despite all evidence, then suddenly it is so. Then within this system, anyone with enough self-delusion can admit himself to heaven. This is nonsense. And I said, this is the moral of this story, is that we cannot delude ourselves that intent is enough. That intent is not enough to get the Quinn out of where they stand in this society. Intent to be a good person is not going to make their lives better. And so he just goes on to say, that's just not enough. You can't just have intent and then just end up in heaven.
Yeah.
And I thought it was a really great point. I mean, it doesn't have to, you don't have to believe in God for this to make sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's what I was saying the other day about her being the type of person that's I'm not a racist because I would never hurt somebody.
Yeah.
It's well, you can't just say that. You have to actively be working against it.
Yeah. And I think that's one of my favorite things that he says during that thing is at some point there has to be a river, or what good can you really claim? If the man of good intentions never manifests a river, only calamity, should he not go to hell?
Yeah. I mean, if you had all this intent and yet you still brought terrible things down upon other people, then
yeah,
it made me think of Brigham and Renthorn, because Brigham is the type that's oh, I'm a good person. I'm hiring women and I'm doing all of these things. And I brought you in here and you're a high mage. But if nothing good comes from that and these women are dying in the textile factory and these people are, their whole lives is uprooted so that people can have clothes made out of magic. Is that good?
Right.
No.
And even if you have straight up intentions that are technically good to begin with, but yet you only create bad things and you don't learn from that and try to do better, then it now becomes bad things because you are intentionally doing it by not learning.
Right. And I
agreed.
Yeah. And I was just this is one of the best explanations for this problem that we have in our society that I've ever read.
Yeah.
And I thought it was fantastic. I immediately was just this is one of the best fantasy novels I've ever read.
It really is.
So well put.
Yeah. Yeah. And even when he's talking to her about the Quinn history, and he's like, how much makes it into books? And she's like, meh, not much. And it's no, wait a minute. You're talking about that it's not worth preserving, but then you're saying that Leon was preserving history.
Yeah.
By stealing it.
Because they wouldn't do it. So either it's worth it or it's not, but you can't have it both ways. And I feel like that, again, it feels so real.
It does.
How funny that Thomil points out that he's so Leon suddenly, quote unquote, discovers this sacred text in 10 pre-Tiran, which for them is BC, 10 BC, quote unquote, pre-Tiran. And then the Blight suddenly pops up 5 years later. Mm-hmm. You're telling me that those two are not linked?
Yeah.
Oh, it was foretold. He saw it in a vision.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Yeah. His to-do list.
But going back to his intention thing, I completely agree. Intentions are not enough. And it should never be enough. I did not agree with the second part where he said there's the second man who does all these bad things with the intention of being selfish and evil and, whatever, but good comes of it. So that's all right. And to me, that is the ends justify the means. And you can use that kind of logic to be well, I raped this girl, but she had a baby and that baby ended up making the city better. So it's all good, right?
I see where you're coming from.
Yeah.
I interpreted it slightly differently. I don't think that Thomil would agree that that's what he meant, because I think he would see rape as a bad thing. That would be a bad result, right? But the way I interpreted it was that you can say someone's bad and that they're doing bad, but that's what's the word? That's your opinion. That's your interpretation of
subjective,
what good and evil is. Yes, it's subjective. Thank you. So good can come from people who are quote unquote bad, is what I think he was trying to say. But I agree that when I first read it, I was like, that I don't know about that. But
it's, the passage reads, "The second man has no such good intentions. Every decision he makes is out of self-interest, spite, intent to harm, or whatever motivations his culture might deem unsavory. Yet, let's say the employee he demotes ends up thriving in her new position. Yeah, okay, so she thrived, but you still harmed her. It doesn't make the demotion any easier."
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. I feel like there's something that we're missing from that, though, because I think the idea is not a literal reading of it. Like, the idea is what happens in the end is the world is left a better place.
Yeah. The ends justify the means.
I think I took it more of when I was reading it, where he was trying to mainly for the first guy, make her understand that intentions don't equal the outcome. And the second guy was to show that regardless of intentions, other things can happen that change those. So even, I don't know, I just felt like it was like another side of the coin, but it wasn't necessarily like this guy is like wonderful and you should be like him because he lucked into having good stuff happen from the crappy stuff he did. So
but if you read it as the first guy should go to hell because even though he had good intentions, which, you know, there is that whole phrase, the road to hell is paved with good intentions.
Yes.
That he should go to hell because even though he had good intentions, his outcomes were bad. Then the opposite of that is that the other guy did not have good intentions, but his outcomes were good, so he should go to heaven. And that's really how, like, I read it. And I did not like that second part.
But I don't think it's meant to be literal, though. Because he's trying to show...
if you're going to take the first part literal, you have to take the second part literal.
I took it as just a description. I definitely get what you're saying. And I agree with you that if it is a literal thing, then absolutely not. If you do bad things and you just happen to have good shit happen because of it, it does not mean you get entrance into anything good because of that. So I 100% agree with that. I think I just took it the same way. It was just a showing two sides of the coin, but it definitely read very literal.
I agree. Good intentions should not get you into heaven. It does not make you a good person. And I feel like that is good. Saying you have good intentions is a way to justify bad things.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. The ends justify the means is also another way to justify bad things for me.
I don't agree with it if you take it literally, but because he follows it up with the world is a gray area and you cannot just you can't define something as good or bad. Everyone has this grayness in them that can be a good or a bad, is what he's saying. And intent is not enough to get you there. That's why I don't take it literally.
Yeah.
Is because he follows it up with this whole monologue on delusion.
Yeah, I think he was showing extremes on both ends to kind of show why you couldn't use extremes to judge someone. God knows I do, but
at least I hope so.
Yeah.
At least I hope that's what he meant, because I agree that I don't necessarily think that someone who is doing bad things and just good things come of it should end up in quote unquote heaven.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I feel like I remember him saying that the outcomes are what matters. And not when he was talking about that, when he was talking to Sciona afterwards, where he was like, it's your actions and the outcomes that matter, not
it's the
intentions.
Actions that matter.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the outcomes of your actions.
Right, but not separate from. So I think the actions matter as well. So if you've got bad actions but a good outcome, then you're still judged by that versus good intentions plus a good outcome.
I'd have to look back at it.
Me too. Anyway.
I knew we'd have a long discussion about this one, though, because I was like, what to discuss in the episode? What is good and bad?
And that's it.
Is intent enough?
Yeah, and I mean, I truly believe, like, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. That is a saying for a reason.
Yeah.
And
But honestly, even with that, to me, it truly, if you were looking at it, them losing their job would be the end of it. That's the outcome. What she does with the rest of it, making a job work, getting a better position, would be on her and based on her actions. So it's crap that it can go past that, because you could go past that too. Well, the kid's kid had another kid and they were terrible. So now your initial, I mean.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, he does use the example of a man is abusive to his wife, so she leaves him and marries another man and they're happy together.
But I think the point there is like a bad thing does not always mean worse for the world. It looks evil in and of itself, and it is a bad thing, but like, I don't know.
And then this may be like completely self-centered, but to that wife, it is worse for the world.
I mean, yeah.
Worse for her world.
Yeah. Maybe he is saying the ends justify them. I don't think he's saying that, though.
I think he was just setting up two extremes to
maybe, I don't know.
See, on the one hand, somebody's super good intentioned, but just sucks at execution, versus someone that's like a really shitty person. And then, flowers and sunshine come out. But I think it was just more of an extreme to show her the gray in the middle is really where most people fall.
Yeah, I feel like...
Except for Brigham. I think he's just evil.
I don't think that he has good intentions.
No, I don't either.
Well, I mean, think of what happens in the next chapters when she tests that mirror, the Freynin mirror, as she has now called it, because she's discovered it. What happens is she doesn't believe what he tells her, which is that the Blight is actually something that the Tiranish people are creating themselves when they're sucking the energy out of the world. And in order to fucking test that out herself, she kills a woman. She fucking uses it on a human being.
Tortures a woman.
That's a terrible, horrible fucking thing. And then what comes from that is hopefully good. I don't know.
I know. And to be fair, and I get why this whole thing was introduced, because she is somebody who arguably could be said to have good intentions. She wants to advance the magic for herself, really, but also for the good of the people. And yet the means of it doing, even though she doesn't intend for it, she's causing harm to other people.
Yeah.
Even though she doesn't know it, she has good intentions, but she's murdering people.
Yeah.
And I hate that she, like I said, it with her testing that on that woman, it was like being handed a gun and saying, "Oh, this won't hurt anybody." Okay. Bang. Oh, crap.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do want us to also talk about how it's in the same chapter that he so like crazily like disrupts her worldview with the intent thing. Like he's like, "Well, I don't worship your God," and she's like, "What? Why?" And in that same chapter, he tells her what the Medra are, or the Medra.
Yeah, apparently, like this whole magic thing, I believe she's getting at is that it was stolen, from the Quinn in the first place.
Yeah,
and of course, colonizers being colonizers, they took it and changed it into a patriarchal endeavor, because for the Quinn, it was a matriarchal system.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because, yay, patriarchy. They always make things better.
There's a point where Thomil goes, "Well, thank goodness Archmage Leon took the Madra's text and drove them from this basin to found his superior civilization, right?"
Yeah.
Like, Thomil, you cheeky bastard.
Yeah. He makes quite a few good points.
He's very playful and funny.
Oh, but yeah, no, when they were talking about the mirror and stuff, I immediately was like, oh my God, what if they're siphoning people? And I knew, like, I said it in last episode, I was like, I feel like they are the ones responsible for the Blight. And it turns out that the Blight is actually them siphoning energy.
In general.
In general.
So for the Quinn, because I just noticed one of your remarks, Lily, Thomil says there are people of songs that say the Tiranish channeled strange, evil magic to defeat the Quinn.
Yeah.
But was there ever a mention of an actual war with the Quinn? Like an outright that some of their people were... So
no,
that would make no sense if you... I just... It's so frustrating to see how much they've taken on faith without any kind of common sense and, injected into it.
Well, the Tiranish, if there was any kind of war or fighting, they just hid it. They hid that history. They got rid of it.
Well, I think they just slaughtered the Quinn. They didn't defeat the Quinn. They slaughtered them.
I mean, it does make me wonder, though, like, what did they use? What quote-unquote strange evil magic did they use to defeat the Quinn?
Yeah.
Probably the siphoning.
Yeah.
But they didn't know how to do that yet. They got that from the Quinn.
They did, but that was like they had a working relationship with the Quinn for a while, and that's how they stole their magic. And then they built the barrier, and they had to siphon from somewhere in order to build that barrier.
But they also had to move the Quinn out of that area and force them out. So they would have had to have used something to force them out, because I can't imagine the Quinn would have just gone willingly.
It just makes me think, if it was the Blight they were talking about, wouldn't they have said the Blight? Wouldn't they have referenced that kind of magic instead of strange evil magic?
Yeah.
Maybe they didn't know what to call it at that time, and it's been lost through the ages.
Maybe.
I don't know. I do know, like, I did question, it says... It is well known that the witches beyond the barrier once opened clear windows both to our world and worlds beyond. Mm-hmm. It made me wonder, were they actually opening worlds beyond? Or was that something that they told people so that they can pretend there was another world?
Yeah.
Yeah, because they call God's bounty, quote unquote, the other realm, when it's not an other realm. It's just outside the barrier.
Yeah.
It's not beyond.
And it also makes me wonder, like, they're talking about places of energy that, they're dead zones, and that there's not enough energy. They can't find enough energy to do the expansion or whatever. Mm-hmm. What happens if they do this expansion and they kill off all the people?
Yeah.
And the land, because they're also killing off the land.
Again, another reference to capitalism and how it just takes and takes and takes, and they don't care if the resources run out. They're just going to keep going.
I don't understand how they haven't run out of resources by now anyways.
For real, if you're killing somebody for a freaking cup of tea?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, we don't know and what they have to take each time.
Where's the reserve coming from?
Yeah, right. If it pulls every single day for factories and stuff like that, that would be an enormous amount of energy required.
I wonder do you think it's possible they could take from under them? You know how they're unable to siphon from the coordinates, and this whole city is built within like a dome?
Yeah.
Some part of me is like, is it possible they could take from like the earth itself? Can they siphon from underneath like the earth? I don't know. Because what is the reserve? Is it just bullshit, or is it where are they taking from? The ocean? Like what? I don't know.
Oh God. Hopefully they don't have some sort of factory that is actually for like women to have babies the
textile workers.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. Don't tell me they're breeding people to kill them. It's getting worse and worse. The more you read this book, the more you're like, ah! Like, I can't keep going.
Uh-huh.
I recommended this book to the preacher's wife.
Girl, you're killing me.
You know what? I don't think she'll get it.
When she was over.
I don't think she'll get it.
I think it's going to go right over her head. Yeah.
She won't put the pieces together. It'll be fine.
When she was over, when the kids were here, when she came to pick them up, we were talking Akatar and stuff, and I was like, you know what? I'm reading this book right now. I'm only 5 chapters in, but you should read it.
One of the things that stood out to me when they were in the chapter where she discovers the Freinen mirror, whenever she is doing it with Thomil for the first time, and she's like looking through that mirror and they're like, oh my God, it's clear as day. The first
And in color.
Yeah, in color. And immediately I was like, oh no. Like I immediately understood what was going on. And when she uses the blight or siphons from that bush, I was like, the burning bush.
Oh my God.
I was like, no, because
God.
it says in the book, it says the bush lit up bright white, beautiful, godly flame, and then unraveled like a ball of yarn to the wind.
If
My
only
first
she
thought
could talk
was,
through it.
yeah. Well, in the Bible, the burning bush does not actually burn. And I feel like this is such a like direct metaphor for like what she thinks she's doing is creating God through this fucking mirror, which would then would mean that it's not destruction. But she's not creating God. She's fucking killing living things. And that's why the bush burns and unravels and unwinds. Like, it's just this clear metaphor on the page. It's like, oh God, the destruction.
Yeah. And I mean, she very much wants to see this as a good godly thing, because to see it as anything else, you can't see it really honestly as anything else other than destruction.
Yeah.
People say fire is destruction, it is consuming, but then, there's also this good outcome of fire or whatever. So I just, I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that. My brain just died.
Well, the whole time she's doing this, when fucking Thomil is telling her about what he sees, and she talks about that his people deserve it.
Oh my God.
And that he's seeing
this
it
is
because
where I could not.
She did lose me here. I can't give her grace on that. I know she is panicking in the fact that she wants to see herself as good and she is lashing out. But no.
I don't understand how, when this happens, Thomil runs away and is cowering in a corner and is flipping out as he should be. And she walks up to him and she's like, what's going on? What's wrong? And he tells her how his entire tribe died in front of his eyes. And that he recognizes, and that he recognizes what's going on here. And yet she gaslights him at every turn. She's like, maybe it's not the same place. It's not possible because it's God's realm. Maybe it looks like that because it's your version of paradise, even though we saw the same thing. Maybe you're not remembering your entire tribe's death or your father's death correctly because it's traumatic. Or maybe it's because of what you are and what you believe, and maybe you deserved it.
Yeah.
And then he fucking calls her on it. Then what did you see? If we saw something different and you're so godly, then what the fuck did you see?
Mm-hmm. And it's just like, I was having trouble reading it. I was like so furious reading it.
Yeah. And then knowing the warnings that he's told her, and she still hits the fucking key to do it.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I looked at it and I was like, okay, so this is absolutely a metaphor, for me at least. Like, American people want to believe that they're so good going into these other countries and, freeing them from their regimes and blah, blah, blah. And in reality, when we do go into there, we leave them worse than they were.
Yeah.
And the consequences are covered up and they're presented to the American people as good. And they're if anything actually comes out about them being in poor condition, it's blamed on the people of that country, not the fact that we fucked up. And so I was like, yeah, this is very much very realistic of her to blame, but also so infuriating because I really wanted her to be better. And I know
I think there's so much to talk about here. The clear, direct lines there. But when, for example, he says, this city eats quins alive. How are you ignoring that in front of your face?
Yeah.
It draws us in, breaks our bodies in its gears, and spits us out when it can't wring our labor out of us. Literally. Do you know what barrier guards do with Quinn who can't work? Our presence here isn't charity, it's conditional, and it is brutal. You're Tiranish, don't care. Why shouldn't your magic also treat us like meat, like bounty to be slaughtered and consumed?
Yeah.
God.
It's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what I love about Thomil is he's so fucking smart and logical that she cannot fight it. There's no way she can break out of this. Like, he's correct. Even when he brings up the forbidden coordinates, he's like, think about it. I know you understand where it is. Yeah. I know if you put it on a map that you know it's in a perfect circle like a certain city contained within a half-sphere dome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, when I was starting to be like, okay, yeah, they're siphoning people, I was like, yeah, the forbidden coordinates are going to be this Tiran, because obviously, and you can't look at it because then you might realize that you're siphoning people.
Yeah.
You're taking lives.
And then when she slaps him.
Although all these fucking smart people, how did somebody other than Sabernin not figure it out? How is he the only one?
They obviously had to know in the beginning, and they added those lines in there to make it foggy on purpose.
Yeah.
Yep.
And from there, they taught their students, oh, this is just the other realm, and it's just foggy, and we can't see.
I get that, but how often do you think it is that any true scientist at heart that's told, don't do this? How often do they actually follow that shit? Or are they like, yeah, I'm going to try that?
I agree. How can it be possible that she's the first to have discovered it? Yeah. But maybe others tried and didn't put it together. Or
definitely Sabernin.
Sure, Sabernin. Or you could also say it's because she had Thomil. Like, she would not have discovered it without Thomil. And maybe people in the past did not have connections to Quinn thought. Like, he's the one that made her put all of these things together.
He got her thinking outside the box.
He's the only one that was like, the mages from the past were all women.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All these men don't want to think about women doing it.
And if you think about it, there were a lot of scientists in the past that, thought the earth was flat. And when was it Copernicus said that the earth was round?
You must die.
They literally kicked him out of heaven for it.
And stupid people. I wish they knew that we were going to make fun of them, these days for just how fucking dumb they are.
It makes sense that there is like a generation of scientists that don't put it together, but I do think it's partially because she had Thomil. Like, I don't think she would have figured it out if not for Thomil. She wouldn't have broken the rules.
Well, okay, so after she does this infuriating conversation with Thomil and goes back to her lab and then does the unthinkable.
Wait. We didn't discuss that she slaps him.
Oh, yeah.
She slaps him and then has the audacity to think that he's going to hurt her. And he's like, do it, kill me. I'm not going to kill you. Like, are you fucking serious? Anyway, I'm sorry. I had to bring that up because she slaps him.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, Sciona, I want to think better of you.
Uh-huh. It's hard, though, right now.
It really is. But anyway, go. I'm sorry. Please move on to the next chapter.
But yeah, so she goes back, does the unthinkable, which we've already kind of discussed, unless y'all want to talk about it even more. It's horrendous. A 15-year-old girl dies.
Is tortured. Again, is tortured because she fucking stops halfway through.
15? Does it say that she's 15?
Yes. Well, I don't know if she's just assuming that she's 15 by how she looks.
She says she looks young, maybe.
But she does this thing, like I said, giving somebody a gun and being like, the gun won't kill anybody. God says it won't. Yeah, sure. It's Russian roulette. Anyway, so she basically like freaks out, locks herself in her lab, won't answer the door, is in a fugue state, screaming, crying, all this stuff. And who shows up but Brigham, who then, after she gaslights Thomil, proceeds to gaslight her.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't
and he tries to And she wants to believe him at first. Like, she does.
She tries her
want
best
to go back.
believe him.
Yeah. Like, she wants to go back to that place of ignorance. And I don't blame her. Like, it's comfortable there.
Yeah.
It's a place where you're not a murderer.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But she's too smart, too logical to ignore it anymore. She knows what she did. She cannot pretend that what he's saying is correct. It cannot be a curse because it wouldn't make any sense.
Yeah. And he sends her home. And also there are other people are like, she's a girl. She can't handle stuff.
Yeah, it says the ass hats who blew up their fucking lab.
Yeah. This is the part where I was like, Renthorn, as she's like leaving, he makes fun of her, but he also says,
yeah,
Freynan, what did you see?
What did you see?
And I'm like,
yeah, I bet he's seen it too. I bet he has seen it too.
Yeah, I don't know if he's seen it, but it did make me question, what does he know? And what does he think she was doing? It's such a specific question.
Yeah.
Not what did you do? Not how did you fuck up?
What did you see?
What did you see?
Yeah. Which that too is one thing I think that makes her doubt Brigham is the fact that he says something about Sabrin and creating that.
Yeah.
And then she's thinking, how the hell would he know what those places look like to create that illusion?
Yeah.
Yep.
And so she's starting to question.
Yeah.
Hopefully this will really continue. But I think right now, yeah, she's at that barrier of if she does question, if she does follow it through, then everything in her world is gone.
When she goes home, she is ready to like throw herself out the window because her world has crashed down. It's crumbled to pieces. She can't reasonably tell herself that this is the truth anymore. And I hope that from now on, she starts acting like...
I hope she goes to Thomil and like begs for forgiveness.
Yes, I hope she does. Like, I need this to be the turning point for her to start behaving in a more reasonable manner and not in a culty manner.
Because she tries to kill herself and Alba saves her. Yeah. But we don't know where it's going to go from there. How is she going to handle... Like, is she going to go back to work? I'm sure she feels... Because she has to present her research. So what do we think is going to happen? Is she going to present what she's found? I don't know if she can.
Also, how do you go and present this is the way we get more energy when you know it's killing people.
Right. So either she's not going to present something or she's going to have to expose this to the entirety of Tiran. Like, it's going to be like revolution.
Is it a festival that everybody could see? Like
it kind of sounded like it. Like it was at Fane's feast, I think.
Isn't it supposed to be presented at the council meeting before, like, the day of the festival, not at the festival?
See, I thought it would be in a closed door kind of situation, just in case.
I don't know. It kind of sounded to me like it was at the festival, but I really don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. I feel like there's so many things that have to get wrapped up. I'm really hoping that it is something that is, that we get a closure to.
And then we have Thomil's
reaction. Oh, God.
We do finally get another POV from Thomil, and he is sitting on his roof, just devastated. He feels betrayed, which he doesn't understand how he could feel betrayed, because to feel betrayed, he must have trusted her. And he's always told himself, you can't trust the Tiranish. And yet he ended up doing that with Sciona.
He cared about her.
He did. Yeah. And I do think that he is attracted to her curiosity and her intelligence.
Yeah.
And
her green eyes, which he kept saying.
and the way I do feel like he probably thought she was more open-minded than other Tiranish. So,
well, she was, but not enough.
Yeah, hopefully this will make her be more open-minded. We do finally get to see Kara, and she has been presenting herself as a boy because pretty Quinn girls can't be trusted alone with the Tiranish.
And he also thinks it's a good thing that she's presenting as a boy because she can work in the chimney sweep jobs, which is safer for her than other jobs that young women are doing.
Yes. Especially since it makes her dirty. And the Tiranish are like, ew, on anything that even appears dirty. So
Shocking.
What?
I do love that she's kind of like an Arya Stark character.
Yes. Yeah. I do get that from her too. And I love that she called Rinthorn fuckstick.
Yeah. And he didn't say anything to her about that. He was just like, yep. Like,
but also, when the fuck did fuckstick Rinthorn hurt Thomil?
Right. And what did he do? Yeah.
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 What did he do? I want to know.
And what did Brigham do?
And I love how honest Thomil is with her.
Yeah.
And then he talks about all Quinn are honest with their kids. I love that.
Although he's not being truly honest with himself. He like telling himself that he is ruining Kara. It's not a ruining. It's a, your circumstances do bring you up to be who you are. And it's telling somebody the truth is not just to unburden yourself. Like, that's what he sees it as. Is I'm telling her this to unburden myself, so I'm not the only one who knows.
I think he thinks he's being selfish by not letting her live a life that is free of worry, I guess. He's like, if I was a better parent or mentor, I would have let her grown up as be raised as a Tiranish young woman and pretend that she was never a Quinn. And,
But that wouldn't be honest to who she is.
Right. Like, it would be devoiding her of a reality. I definitely agree with you.
And when you hide reality from someone who is vulnerable, then you are basically setting them up to be hurt.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Well, you set up things like Sciona. Like, you get situations where a young girl grows up in a culture that she thinks is right, and then now her whole fucking life is turned upside down because she didn't know the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or in Kara's case, if you raised her as a young girl, or a young girl presenting, then, she goes to work in, say, the textile, and what happens if, she thinks that this nice Tiranish man is being nice to her and ends up hurting her in a way that
you can't take back.
Yeah.
I agree with you that I think that him telling her the truth is for the best. And when she just climbs down and screams into the sky.
Oh,
yes.
I felt that. I feel like that all the time. Like, I really just want to go outside and scream. But then the cops would be called. So.
Any chance you think she might do some sort of follow-up book with her?
I don't know. She seems to be a standalone author so far. I only know the 2 books that she's written that are very popular. I haven't looked into her full library, so I don't know.
One thing I want to leave us on is when he's sitting up on that rooftop and he's thinking of his sister, Maeva, who he seemed to have been very close with. He says to himself, and I don't even remember what context it's in. I think he was thinking of his father's death and the things that Maeva said about his father's death. There's a line that goes, "The brightest meadows grow from dead things." And I think this is an allusion to what we're going to get next with Sciona. At least I hope it is. That she has fallen all the way to rock bottom. Hopefully she can rise from that a bright meadow.
Hopefully. Yeah. There is, going back to what's good and what's bad, there is good in trauma because, I saw this thing that said, okay, what doesn't kill me makes me stronger. And they were like, no, it's not what doesn't kill you. It's the healing that you do that makes you stronger.
Yeah.
From that. So hopefully she heals and grows and is able to put shit right.
Yeah. I hope we can overthrow this bullshit. I want revolution.
Yes.
Down with the patriarchy.
I want the Quinn to rise up.
We want at least one fucking revolution.
I'm really hoping that we get that in the next section. I'm so sad that this is only one book.
Yeah. Yeah, that sucks.
And I don't know how we're going to follow this. I do not know how we're going to follow this with If We Were Villains and the Historian. I'm sorry. I just don't think either of them are going to be nearly this good. But we should have read it last. But it is what it is.
It is. It's fine.
At least mine is last, so I don't have to go after this one. Now watch, yours is going to be epically fucking good, and then I'm going to be really screwed.
Mine's is going to be fucking crazy. It's not going to be like this at all. I will say that. So, yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we only have 2 more episodes left with this book.
What the fuck? That's so weird for us. It usually feels like it's months and months of one book.
It's because we're usually on the same story.
Yeah.
Yeah. But all right. Any other thoughts before we close it?
Nope.
I'm good.
All right. Well, we're going to end the episode there. We hope that you'll join us for next week's episode. We'll be discussing Blood Over Brighthaven chapters 13 through 17. New episodes drop each week, and don't forget to check out last season's discussion on the Bride duology, available now.
Please remember to like, subscribe, and follow us on social media. That like and follow are super important for us to continue to bring you new episodes each week, so please, please, please do so. You can also support us by joining us on Patreon. Thank you for listening to the Midnight Readers podcast. We'll see you next week.
Happy reading, listeners. Don't stay up too late.